Hello everybody, this is Maren. This is going to be a 1 hour slow flow class suitable for all levels, beginners, intermediate, advanced. I know many advanced yogis that like to take slow flow yoga. That one has nothing to do with the other. I will be talking about modifications. If you have a block in your house, you can also use an Amazon box. You can use a water bottle if you don't have a block. They're really cheap on Amazon if you want to pick one up. They're just lightweight, basically spongy type of blocks that can help bring the floor to you when we're placing our hands on the floor. There are lots of uses and they're really helpful for anybody of all levels. And I'll show you how to modify each pose today. So again, it's a slow flow. The music that I've picked for today under my Spotify, which will be listed under each so I've been recording these Zoom classes. I place them onto YouTube for people to watch. So I always put the link to my Spotify. There are lots of different playlists there. The one I'm using today under Maren Leah, Marenleah on Spotify, is Root 4. So ROOT number 4. And it is a more less upbeat, super pop music. There's no pop music. It's instrumental, relaxing. That's what I'm hoping that this Vinyasa class will be for everybody. It will be Vinyasa. And I will explain as we go exactly how you can modify if you have any shoulder issues, if doing chaturangas are just too much for you. We can talk about that going forward. Okay, so let's do a countdown from the count of 3. We pause after 1 and then press play. That way, if you are using my music, which you do not have to do, you can play any music you want. We are at least on the same page if you wanted to do Root 4 with me. So 3, 2, 1, play. Let's begin in child's pose. Knees out wide, big toes to touch in the back. Your chest and belly sinking down between your knees. So it looks like this. If this is too much on your shoulders or on your lower back, you can bring your knees together. You can do it this way, or maybe you sweep your hands back behind you, grab for your ankles, and let your shoulders fall towards the floor. That looks like this. So start to settle in. Start to arrive on your mat. Just take a few moments to observe your breath. Observe your body in this space. And arrive. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the term positive affirmations. They're very in right now. And what they are is basically the act of saying something positive to yourself, usually in the mirror. So you're looking at yourself and you tell yourself something positive. Maybe it's, I'm going to have a great day. Or, I am beautiful. It's the same idea as people creating a vision board, where you think about your hopes and dreams, you cut out pictures, you make it visual in the hopes that they will come true. So while this sounds a little bit hokey, a lot of wishy-washy hippie stuff, there's actual science based on this. Real scientific data that shows the power of not only positive thinking, but of positive affirmations, saying it out loud to yourself in the mirror, saying it to yourself throughout your day. It's not a question mark statement. It is an actual period statement. People love me. So what they found in the scientific research that's been done, and you can Google this, is that MRIs showed that after a positive affirmation, parts of the brain light up in different ways. There are actual new neurological pathways created. The prefrontal cortex of your brain lights up. And what they found is that doing these positive affirmations creates many things, one of which is resiliency. The ability to brush off when something negative happens, when somebody says something negative to you, something that goes against those positive affirmations you've been saying, you can ignore them because you know it's not true. They even found that people eat more fruits and vegetables. They are healthier, heart healthier, all of these things just by saying positive things to ourselves. So whether you believe it or not, whether you look at the science data and say, it's not for me, maybe you take a chance and say, you know what's the worst that's going to happen? It doesn't work, right? But the best that's going to happen is that it does work. Start to feel your breath deepen here in this child's pose. Feel your inhales expand your ribs, almost create space in between every single rib. And then feel your exhales drop your chest closer to the floor or towards your knees. Maybe your hips even sit back a little further. Let's take a few deep, full breaths together right here. Inhale deeply through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go. One more, just like that. Inhale deeply through your nose. And then open your mouth, let it go. Now gently seal your lips and start to breathe in and out through your nose, constricting the back of your throat as that air flows in and flows out. This is Ujjayi Pranayama breath. The breath that builds heat inside of us. The breath that makes us feel better after this class. It's really the breath. It's less about the movements and more about that deep Ujjayi Pranayama breath. So even if you sat just like this for the entire hour and you breathed, you will still walk off your mat feeling better than when you walked on. So if at any point you need to take a break, you need to come down into this child's pose and just breathe, you do that. You're still doing yoga. With your next inhale, walk your hands and come up onto all fours. Your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over your knees. Inhale, drop your belly, spread your chest, look up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, cat pose. Inhale, arch your back, look up. Exhale, push your spine towards the ceiling. Now come to a neutral spine, a flat back, and just step your right foot back behind you. The toes come down and just start to sway front to back, just feeling this in your hamstrings. And when you're ready, bring it back down. Next side, bring your left toes down, back behind you, and just shift forward and back, stretching the back of your left leg. And then bring your left knee down. Walk your hands another fist or hand print above where it was, so a little bit further out. Tuck your toes under, and then lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Start to walk out your feet. You can bend a knee one at a time, keeping with that Ujjayi breath. Notice if you're a breath holder. I'm a breath holder. My whole life, I hold my breath. So I've had to train myself to let that go. Keep breathing here. In through your nose and out through your nose. Now start to come to stillness in this downward facing dog. Inhale, come up high on your toes. Exhale, heels come down towards the mat. It's okay if they don't touch. You're feeling the lengthening in the backs of your legs. Every inhale, think about your tailbone tilting up a little bit higher, and every exhale, press your chest closer to your thighs. We're in this inverted V shape. Inhale, come up high on your toes again, and then exhale, let them drop down towards the mat. Inhale, come up high on those toes. Exhale, let your heels come down, and now walk your hands back towards your feet. Now just hang here for a moment. You can keep a deep bend in your knees so that your chest is resting on your thighs. Grab your elbows, start to sway side to side. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Shake it yes again. And just sway. Letting the weight of your upper body pull the crown of your head down towards the floor. So your weight is towards the balls of your feet. Exhale, let your hands come down towards the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten your back. You're creating space in your spine as the crown of your head pulls forward. Exhale, forward fold again. Remember, you can always keep a deep bend in your knees. Inhale, slowly roll up to standing. Your head comes up last, and reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Thumb knuckles pressed against your sternum. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. And just breathe for a moment. This is where we set our intention for this beautiful class. Maybe you start that positive affirmation in your mind. There are a million wonderful things about you. Is there something that you're working on? Is there a reason you are here today taking yoga? Something that's not working for you. And turn it into a positive phrase. Like, I am calm. I am flexible, mentally and physically. Whatever that phrase is or word, it is yours. Keep this with you today during class. Inhale deeply through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go. Flutter your eyes open. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Now with your exhale, bring your right hand to your right hip and side bend to the right. So you're opening up your left side body and turning your chest upwards towards the ceiling. A light press down in your left foot. Inhale, come back to center, both arms lift. And then exhale, your left hand comes to your left hip. Side bend to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Release your hands back behind you. Fingertips can face down or up, whatever's best for you. And then slowly start to lean back as you press your hips forward. You can release your neck back only if that feels comfortable for you. Inhale, slowly start to stand back up. And exhale, forward fold as your hands trace the backs of your legs. Inhale, take that halfway lift again, flatten your back. Exhale, forward fold, walk your hands out in front of you towards the front of your mat, right into a high plank. So that's like a push-up position. You're pressing your palms down into the floor. It's okay if this is uncomfortable. It's okay if your muscles are shaking. That means that you are getting stronger. Now exhale, let your knees come down towards the floor. You can keep your toes tucked. And then take a little bend in your elbows. So the elbows are coming in towards your body, not out. You're squeezing them in towards your sides. Inhale, press them back into the floor, your palms, and straighten your arms, then lift your knees back up. Exhale, knees come down. This time, bend your elbows a little bit more. Maybe your chest comes to a hover. Inhale, straighten your arms back up, lift your knees up. One more time. Exhale, knees come down. This time, as slow as can be, come all the way down onto your belly. Elbows are pointed up towards the ceiling. Untuck your toes, tops of your feet come down into the floor. With your inhale, lift your chest up. Maybe your palms come to a hover so you really feel the work that's happening in your lower back. Your hip bones are pressing towards the mat. Exhale, forehead comes down towards the floor, palms come down. One more, just like that. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your palms. Try not to arch your neck. Exhale, palms come down, forehead comes down. Beautiful. Now walk your hands towards your lower ribs. This time with your inhale, start to straighten your arms. It's okay if you can't go all the way. Inhale, lift your chest so you're pushing your palms into the mat. And make sure that your palms are underneath your shoulders here. So you don't want it to be like this. That puts way too much pressure in your lower back. So walk them in, and then maybe you press the tops of your feet into the mat to lift your thighs up. That's upward facing dog. Your chest is lifted, you're looking up. Exhale, let your knees come down towards the floor if they were up. Sit your hips back right into table tap. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back, right to downward facing dog. Deep, full breaths right here. Remember that tailbone is lifting, your chest is pressing down towards your thighs. And you're pressing the floor away so that your shoulder blades are actually like lengthening your back. You don't want to sink them down. You're pressing the floor away. Inhale, come up high on your toes. Exhale, heels come down, light bend in your knees, and walk your hands back towards your feet again. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten your back. Exhale, fold. Feet can still be two fists distance, hip distance, or maybe you walk your feet together so your big toes touch. Inhale, slowly roll up to standing, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Opening up, creating space in between every rib on that left side. Inhale, back to center, both arms lift. And then exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, come back to center. This time, goal post your arms. That means you kind of bend your elbows. Your shoulders and your elbows are in line with each other. Take a baby back bend that way. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up, and then exhale, hands pass through heart center as you fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down, walk out to a high plank. Now we're going to take the vinyasa. If you want to drop your knees, you can. With your exhale, come to a hover, chaturanga. Inhale, pull your chest through. The tops of your feet come down, chest lifts, look up. Exhale, roll over your toes or tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Deep, full breaths right here. Inhale, come up high on your toes. Exhale, heels come down, walk your hands back towards your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll up to standing, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, side bend to the left. The purpose of this Sun A is warming up the spine. Inhale, come back to center, goal post your arms, take a baby back bend. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down, walk them out to a high plank, hold it. Come to a low plank, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep, full breaths right here. Inhale, come up high on your toes. Exhale, bend your knees. And then you can tiptoe, walk, step, jump up to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift again. Exhale, fold. This time, bend your knees. And then inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Chair pose. So your weight is all the way back towards your heels. You're sitting down really low and your tailbone is tucked under just a little. So try not to arch your back and stick your butt out. You're actually tucking. So you're engaging your belly. Arms are lifted, chest is lifted. And notice when you look down, can you see your feet? If you can, it means your knees are probably like this. We want to pull it back, like there's a baby chair behind you. One more inhale. Exhale, let your right fingertips drop down and back like you're hugging the right side of the room, and look over towards your back shoulder. Chair twist. Inhale, back to chair center, and then exhale. Left fingertips drop down and back. Inhale, back to chair center. Exhale, forward fold as you straighten your legs. That probably feels like a relief, yes. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, your hands come down. Step back to a high plank, 1 foot at a time. Lower to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now that part is the vinyasa. If ever I suggest vinyasa and you have had enough, just meet us in downward facing dog. Deep, full breaths. Nobody knows your body better than you. And this is your hour to do you, to do it your way for your body. Inhale, your right leg lifts high to the sky. So you're engaging your right glute. So squeeze that in. Your heel is lifting up high. Now notice if for some reason you're pulling up on one shoulder, and press both shoulders down towards the floor. Exhale, knee in towards your nose. Squeeze it in. Pull. Inhale, send it back. And then exhale, squeeze it in again. So you're really engaging your core. You're using those core muscles. And then gently step your foot between your hands. You might need to use your hands to get your foot there. That's okay. Untuck your back, bring your back knee down and untuck your back toes. If you need the extra support, that's okay. And tuck your toes there. You can. This actually puts more pressure on my knee, so I prefer not tucking. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up, low lunge. Now let's try to sit your hips forward. You're pressing your right hip forward, pulling your right hip back as you're pressing your left hip forward. So what that does is it actually turns your hips towards the front of your mat without talking strict alignment, because everybody's body is different. It's all about sensation here. One more inhale, chest lifts, maybe a little back bend. And then exhale, bring your hands to the floor and sit your hips back into a half split. Now, we start to straighten that front leg. Right toes start to point up towards our face. You do what's best for you here. So as long as you feel it in the back of your leg, then you're doing it right. It's like a runner's lunge. And maybe you sit your hips back if that feels more comfortable for you. A few deep, full breaths right here. Beautiful. Start to sit back up. Come back onto that back knee as you bring weight into your right foot. Left palm plants on the inside of your right foot. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee. And then inhale, right fingertips reach up right into that dragonfly twist. So you lean back a little bit. We're twisting our chest open. And look up. Think about squeezing your thighs together isometrically here, like just a light squeeze, and you're up high on your back toes. One more inhale. Exhale, right hand comes down to frame out your right foot. Step your right foot back to meet your left, and vinyasa, or just go right to downward dog. Don't forget that breath. Inhale, your left leg lifts. Remember, you're engaging your left glute. Heel is up high. Exhale, knee in towards your nose. Squeeze it in. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, squeeze it in again, and then gently step it through. Back knee comes down. Tuck or untuck those back toes. Inhale, arms reach up, low lunge. Remember, you're gently pulling the left hip back, pressing the right hip forward. That also elongates those psoas muscles in your right hip. We want to feel these hip openings. The whole purpose of this sun B, this section, is opening up the hips. Maybe a little back bend here. One more inhale. Exhale, hands come down to the floor. Sit your hips back into that half split as you straighten your front leg. Remember, you can sit all the way down if you prefer. As long as you're getting into the back of your left leg, that hamstring stretch. Beautiful. Start to sit your hips back up if they are all the way down. Walk your hands forward as you bring weight back into your left foot. So deep bend in your left knee. Right palm plants, back toes tuck under and lift your back knee. Inhale, left fingertips, reach up, that dragonfly twist. Opening up your chest, leaning back like there's a wall there. And notice if you're resting on your thigh. Try not to. Try to engage your core so you're creating lift as you're squeezing your thighs together. One more inhale. Exhale, left hand comes down. Step your left foot back, Vinyasa. Inhale, come up high on your toes. Exhale, bend your knees and travel to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, bend your knees. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up, chair pose. Exhale, chair twist to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, chair twist to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down. Step or jump back if you'd like. Take the vinyasa or right to downward dog. Keep with that breathing though. Deep, full breaths. Notice where your mind is. Notice where your breath is. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee in towards your nose. This time, swing your right knee to your right elbow. Now swing it to your left elbow. Now pull it in and then send it back with your inhale. Awesome, guys. I know it's hard. Exhale, knee in towards your nose and then step it through. Back knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach up, low lunge. Deep, full breaths here. Maybe your pinkies are turned inward. There's energy shooting out of your fingertips. So don't have like limp hands. We want energy in our hands that engages our arms. Exhale, hands come down to the floor. Sit your hips back, half splits. Beautiful, walk your hands forward. Left palm plants, back toes tuck and back knee lifts. Inhale right into that dragonfly twist. Maybe you close your eyes or soften your gaze and just feel every sensation in your body. It never matters what you look like in this pose, in any pose. It's never about that. One more inhale, reach. Exhale, right hand comes down, Vinyasa. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee in towards your nose. Swing it to the left. Swing it to the right. Swing it center. Inhale, send it back. You should really feel those in your abs. Exhale, knee in towards your nose and then step it through. Inhale, low lunge. Deep, full breaths. Never any rush in any pose. Just make sure you feel it. Try to keep that knee above your foot. Notice if it's more like this. We want to keep it more aligned because we don't want to put pressure on your kneecap. Exhale, hands come down. Sit your hips back, half splits. Slowly start to walk it forward. Right palm plants this time, and then inhale, dragonfly twist. Left fingertips are reaching. One more inhale. Come up high on those back toes. Exhale, left hand comes down, Vinyasa. Beautiful. Now drop your knees down towards the floor. Untuck your toes, sit your hips back into child's pose. Again, your knees can be wide or together. Just take a moment to reclaim your breath. Where is your mind? Where is that breath, that Ujjayi Pranayama breath? So when we talk about resiliency, it's also with yoga. Because there might be times where you try a pose and you're like, this does not look like it's supposed to look, or this person over here's got their leg up higher than me. All of that is negative self-talk. So with the reframing, that stuff will go away. Resiliency is that you are good enough. Everything you're doing is enough. And you are strong. Beautiful. From this child's pose, slowly lift your hips back into tabletop. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back, right to downward facing dog. Inhale, your right leg lifts. And then exhale, step it through. And then step your left foot up to meet your right foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll up to standing, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, hands come to heart center, samastitihi. Just close your eyes just for one moment or soften your gaze. Press your thumb knuckles against your heart and feel your heart beating. Maybe you use your breath to slow that beating down. This is another part of resiliency, where when stress happens off of the mat, we use our breath to calm us. Come back to that breath, and everything else falls away. If your eyes were closed, flutter them open. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, swan dive. So bring your arms out to the sides, and then with a flat back, forward fold all the way down. Beautiful. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands down and step your left foot back to the back of your mat as you bend deeply into your right knee. Dial your back heel down now. Yep, all the way down towards the mat. Awesome. With your inhale, sweep both arms up and then let your left arm drop back behind you. Your right arm reaches up overhead, right into peaceful warrior. And it's kind of like you're giving a high five to the wall behind you. Yep, it's a side bend. So you feel this in your right side body. Your left arm is reaching down your left leg. Maybe it's wrapped behind your back in a half bind if you would like. Deep, full breaths. Your palm should be facing away from you in that half bind. Now your feet. Think about train tracks rather than a tightrope. So they're towards the sides of your mat. That gives you extra stability. And then press into the pinky side of your back foot. So that engages your back leg. I know you might be shaking. You're feeling that in your right thigh. But still, sit down lower. Don't be afraid of sensation here. It's uncomfortable, I know, but you're getting stronger. One more inhale. Exhale. Look down at your right foot. That's your foot in front. That's where we're going. We're going to launch up off of our back leg and plant your right palm down about a foot in front of it and off to the right, launching your back leg up right into half moon pose. So your left fingertips are reaching. You're leaning back like there's a wall behind you, and think about stacking your left shoulder on top of your right as you're stacking your left hip on top of your right hip. So it takes a big lean back. If you want to try Chapasana, you bend your back knee and reach back for your foot. And breathe here. Gaze is lifted. If you have your foot, that bind, release it. Come back into your half moon pose. Beautiful, guys. So we're going to slowly step that back foot all the way down, back behind you, but come up on your toes. So you don't bring the heel down. You're up high on your toes, and bring your hands to your heart. So you're squeezing your belly in, creating lift. And now twist to the right, hooking your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh. But notice if your knee is swinging inward. Press that knee away. So you're pressing your knee into your elbow into your knee. Palms are pressing at your heart. So notice if your hands are up here. You're engaging your core, creating lift. Look up. Deep, full breaths. I know this is hard on that right thigh. That's okay. Remember, you're getting stronger, and if you need a break, take a break. Beautiful. Now bring your hands down to the floor. Dial that back heel down. Now we're going to straighten that front leg. Grab your right wrist with your left hand, and then pull it up overhead into Sky Archer. If you prefer into a reverse triangle, bring your left hand down your thigh again, reaching your right arm up. So this is either variation that works for you. Either way, you're getting that open right side body here. Deep, full breaths. Your right toes are still pointed towards the front of the mat. Left toes are still at about a 45-degree angle here. And your hips are turned towards that left side of your mat. One more inhale. Beautiful. Exhale, bring your arms to a T. We're going to switch out our feet. So right toes turn towards the long edge of the mat. Left toes turn towards the back of your mat. Kick your right hip out just a little. And then start to lean forward towards the back of your mat, tick-tocking your arms. So your left fingertips come down, right fingertips reach up, Trikonasana triangle pose. Now your hand maybe just comes this far onto your leg. Try not to lock out that joint of your left leg. We're not going to lock. You're going to engage your core. So pull up on your kneecap here. That engages it. Or maybe you even lift your toes. Lifting your left toes engages your leg. Deep, full breaths. Think about scooping your left hip underneath your right hip. Beautiful, guys. One more inhale. You're leaning back. Exhale, look down at your left foot. This is a big move. We're going to launch up off of our back leg, bringing weight only into our left foot, coming into a tree pose. So it's possible you need to step that back foot in a few times. And then you're going to stand up and come right into tree pose. So whatever that means for you with tree pose. Maybe your foot is against your thigh. Maybe it's just against your ankle. Maybe it's against your calf. Just not pressing against your knee. You can also try a lotus leg here. If you want to really challenge your balance, close your eyes or just lift your gaze up. And then when you're ready, grow your branches. Maybe you try a mudra with your hands. Maybe you try a reverse prayer. You can also just keep your hands at heart center. But breathe. Beautiful. From this tree pose, slowly release your right foot and step it back behind you, about 2.5 feet behind you. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift your chest. And then exhale, start to hinge forward into pyramid pose. Remember that light bend in your front knee. And fold. Don't go too far. You go as far as you need to go here. You're feeling this in the back of your left leg. Your hands can come down to the floor. Notice if you're holding your head up, try to release those muscles in your neck and your shoulders. And breathe. Notice if your hips are swinging from one side to the other, maybe out of fear of really feeling that hip opening, and try to gently scoop your left hip back towards your right hip. I've heard some teachers call that sassy hip. When you have a sassy hip, try not to have a sassy hip. I always giggle at that. Deep, full breaths. If your hands are down, back behind you, walk them forward. Everybody plant your palms in front of your left foot, and then step your right foot up to meet your left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll up to standing, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, hands towards your heart. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Once again, it's Samastitihi. And breathe. Take this moment to notice the difference in your right side versus your left side. What body parts on either side feel a little bit different? A little looser maybe, a little stretched. Just check in. And then reignite that deep, full Ujjayi breath. If your eyes are closed, flutter them open. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. Exhale, swan dive forward, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, this time you are stepping your right foot. So your left foot stays in front. You're stepping your right foot all the way back to the back of your mat. Deep bend in your left knee. And then dial that back heel down. Inhale, you're cartwheeling your arms open right into that peaceful warrior. Again, your right hand can be reaching down your right leg. Or maybe you take the half bind, reaching your right arm behind you, hooking onto your thigh. Notice if your left knee is pulling in towards your midline. You want to press it out towards the left side of your body right now. Deep, full breaths. One more inhale. Exhale, look down at your left foot. We're launching up off of our back leg. So your left hand plants. And you're coming right into that half moon pose. Woo! Hey, it's okay if you fall. You might fall. I fall. I fall in class all the time. I stumble out of stuff. That's okay. You come right back into it. And truthfully, how are you ever going to learn if you don't fall out of something? That means you weren't pushing your boundaries enough, right? You weren't getting to that edge. If you want to come into Chapasana, you can bend your back knee, your right knee, and then press the top of your foot into your hand. Create lift. Look up. If you have the bind, slowly start to release the bind, coming back into that half moon pose. Beautiful. Now slowly step that right foot back behind you. Your left toes are still pointed towards the back of your mat, which is now in front of us. Beautiful. Hands come down to the floor. Engage your core. You're up high on your back toes. And then bring your hands to heart center as you lift your chest. And hook your elbow over your left knee. So your right elbow comes over your left knee, right into a crescent twist. Palms pressed at your heart. Remember, notice if your hands are somewhere else. Maybe they're up high, maybe they're down low. Bring the palms towards your heart and use the leverage here to twist your chest open. If this is too deep of a lunge, just step that back foot in a little bit. You get to do you here. One more inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. Bring your hands down to the floor. Dial your back heel all the way down. We're going to cartwheel our arms open once again, right into that reverse triangle or sky archer. So sky archer is when you grab your wrist and pull. Remember, you get to decide here what you're doing. Either way, you're feeling the opening in your left side body. Come back to your breathing. That deep Ujjayi pranayama breath. Beautiful. Now bring your arms down to a T. Here we go. We're switching out our feet. Your left toes turn towards the long edge of your mat. The right toes turn now towards the front of your mat. Kick your left hip out a little bit. Start to hinge forward towards your right leg. And then tick-tock your arms right into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Remember, you're leaning back here. You're scooping your right hip underneath your left hip and breathing. Energy is still shooting out of your fingertips. Where can you soften just a little bit? Don't forget that light bend in your front knee. Beautiful. Now we're going to launch up off of our back leg again. So look down at your right foot. All four corners of your right foot start to plant and push down into your mat. We're going to launch up off of our back leg right into that tree pose. Any variation that works for you. All of this wobbling that you're feeling, this is good. This is your foot getting stronger. This is your ankle getting stronger. So you take any tree pose you want. Is your foot pressed against your thigh? your calf, your ankle. You could try a lotus leg. You do you here. Maybe your gaze lifts up. And if you fall out of it, it's okay. You come right back into it. It doesn't matter what you look like. All that matters is how you feel and how you are breathing right now. One more inhale. Exhale, slowly release your foot and then step it back behind you. That foot is about 45-degree angle behind you. Right toe still pointed towards the front of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips. Both legs are straight. Inhale, lift your chest. Create space. Exhale, with a flat back, start to hinge forward and fold over your right leg. Remember, you don't have to go all the way to feel this. You're just feeling it in the back of your right leg. Maybe your hands come down towards the floor. Deep, full breaths. Beautiful. Look towards your right foot. If your hands are down on the floor, walk them forward, past your right foot, and then step your left foot up to meet your right. Remember, you can keep a deep bend in your knees all the time. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten your back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll up to standing, reach your arms up, look up. And then exhale, hands come to heart center, Samastitihi. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. You can step your feet a little further apart from each other if you need that stability. And just breathe here. How does your right side versus your left side feel? You're never completely symmetrical. So a pose on your right side is going to feel different than a pose on your left side. That's okay and that's normal. Beautiful. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up, flutter open your eyes. Exhale, your hands pass through heart center as you fold. Start to bend into your knees. Sit your hips back and then come up high on your toes. For some people, this is really uncomfortable. I know we're stretching the backs of the bottoms of our feet here. We do so much damage to our feet, especially for women who wear heels or men wearing dress shoes that don't have any support. Believe it or not, being barefoot as much as you can at home is really important for the integrity of your feet. So we really have to stretch out the bottoms of our feet. See if you can release your head. If you want to work on balance, maybe you stay up high on your toes, walk your hands in, bring your hands to heart center. It's okay if you fall. Woo! And the more you do this, the better you'll get. Awesome. Slowly let your heels come down and sit your butt all the way back towards the floor. And extend your legs out in front of you. Your toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. And then think about engaging your leg so that the bottoms of your heels lift up off the floor. Your toes are pointed towards your face. Inhale, reach your arms up, look up. And then exhale, start to hinge forward with a flat back and fold. Now you can keep a deep bend in your knees here. Or maybe not, maybe you fold all the way down. If you have a bolster and that helps you a lot, you can place a pillow or a bolster across your thighs, make it more restorative, and breathe. Remember, you can use any blocks, any straps. So a cool thing you can do with a strap right now, which is a belt essentially, or you can use a towel, you can wrap that around your feet and pull yourself closer. So keeping the bend in your knee will also do the same thing. So you want to grab the feet because then you have resistance and can start to straighten your legs. It's okay if you can't get there. One day you will. And throughout any pose we just did, you can always use a block to bring the floor to you. So if you want to take this class again and It would feel better for you to use that block, that half moon pose we did, or even triangle. Use the block to bring the floor up to you. Inhale, slowly walk your hands in towards your body. And now bring the bottoms of your feet together like a butterfly. And you reach down with your hands, grab your feet. Maybe you're opening up your feet like a book, showing the bottoms of your feet towards the ceiling. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, with a flat back, start to fold. Maybe you use your elbows to press your knees towards the floor. Getting a deep hip opening here. Inhale, slowly start to lift back up. Using your hands, close your knees together. And then from here, slowly roll down onto your back. You can hold your knees to get there. Now walk your feet in towards your butt. Your palms are planted into the floor. This is another great place for a block. If you would like a more restorative back bend, you can just slide the block underneath your lower back. With your inhale, lift your hips up. Maybe you shimmy your shoulders under your back and interlace your fingers. Taking a light back bend. One more inhale. Lift a little higher. You're squeezing your thighs together gently. Exhale, roll onto your back. Now start to straighten your left leg. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Give it a squeeze. With your exhale, using your left hand, guide your knee across your body. Open your right arm long and turn your head towards the right. Supine twist. This is another place where you might want to use a block. You can place a pillow or a block in between your thighs here or underneath your right knee. Twisting is so important every single day for spine health. Inhale, bring your right knee in towards your chest as you roll onto your back. And then exhale, set it long on the mat. Inhale, your left knee comes in. Exhale, guide it across your body. Left arm extends. Turn your head to the left. Again, you can always use a block. Think about melting your shoulders down towards the mat here. Slowly roll back onto your back with your inhale. Squeeze your left knee in towards your chest. And exhale, release it down onto the mat. One more asana here. Bring your knees back in towards your chest, but open your knees out wide this time. Now you can reach down and grab your thighs, and then open your thighs that way into happy baby. If you need a little bit more, grab for the outsides of your feet. Pull your knees down towards the floor and just rock side to side, massaging your lower back into the floor. you'd like to straighten one leg at a time, you can. Maybe both at the same time. You do you. When you're ready, release your feet. Bring your legs out long, feet towards the corners of your mat. If you have any other finishing poses that you need right here, you can take them. Otherwise, you've made it to Shavasana. Bring your arms away from your body, palms up to receive the energy of the room, or palms down to ground you. If this pose is hard on your back, you can bring your feet to the mat and bring your knees up, always. That's always available to you. That will press your lower back into the floor, taking the pressure off of that arch. So remember, this is your practice. You can do you. If your knees are bent, let your knees come in towards each other so that they can rest. Close your eyes or soften your gaze and let that entire class just absorb into your body. This is your resting pose. Some say the hardest pose in all of yoga because there's stillness here. So where can you find stillness? In your mind, in your body, and in your slow, relaxed, natural breath. I will guide you out of Shavasana when it is time. Just let yourself be here. slowly start to bring some awareness back into the room. Notice the weight of your body pressing down into the floor as your breath starts to deepen. Notice how different your body feels from when you started today, or maybe how different your mind feels. Where have you let go? What feels softer, more open? Slowly start to bring some awareness to your fingers. Maybe you give them a light wiggle. Notice your toes. Give them a little wiggle. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Point your toes towards the front of your mat. Take a full body stretch. Exhale, bring your knees in towards your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Give yourself a hug, this moment of gratitude. For some people, maybe this is your only hug you've had today. So really give it to yourself. You showed up. You're here. Thank yourself. When you're ready, roll on to your right or your left side, whatever side you need right here. It's the side of new beginnings. For a moment, maybe you recommit to those positive affirmations throughout your day. Maybe every time you pass a mirror, you say something positive to yourself. Because it does work. Using your hands, push your way up to a comfortable seat. Eyes stay closed or your gaze softened. Hands come to heart center. Let's take one deep, full breath together as a community. Inhale deeply through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh it out. You are loved, you are brave, and you are enough. The love and light within me honors and respects the love and light within each and every one of you. And is with this love and light that we are all connected. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming, guys. My name is Maren, and that was a slow flow. I realized as I'm watching you guys on Zoom, before you unmute, when I was watching you guys, none of you were using your blocks, and it didn't look like anybody needed it, but I am taping this for YouTube, so I just want to reiterate that for those of you trying a pose like a half moon, when we were doing those half moon poses, using a block is great. Bringing the block up onto the floor, the higher it is, the more stability it will give you and the better your alignment, especially if you're new. So basically it brings the floor to you. And again, you can use a water bottle, you can use an Amazon box, whatever it is you need. And then when this becomes maybe a little bit too easy, you're not getting enough sensation, then try it bringing it down to the lower level, or even the lowest level, right? And then you can not use it, use your fingertips if you'd like, and still try to keep that alignment. The same is true with triangle. So we were doing that triangle pose. This really brings the floor to you, so you can feel that in your hip. You can get the twist and the opening without rounding down. Now, I was watching you guys. Everybody had great alignment. You guys were doing it perfectly. I'm just talking for my YouTube people. You need to make sure that, yeah, you guys can go if you need to, or stick around and you can ask me questions. But you can use that block to bring the floor up to you. It's very, very helpful for beginners that maybe don't have that kind of range of motion. I had a bunch of beginners that use the floor, and when I was taught, I was actually taught that like through my original YTT, that nobody has to, you can do yoga anywhere. You don't need a mat, you don't need a block, you don't need a strap, you need your body and your breath. So you can literally do yoga anywhere. You don't have to use a block ever. Just like I was saying, you're using your core in that triangle pose, right? You get that same lift here when you're pulling in your belly. You don't have to ever use any prop that you don't need. That was my little spiel on blocks. You guys get to do you because it's your class. You can unmute, guys, if you have any questions. You guys did an amazing